Isn't it funny that Kyle Larson won a race that Denny Hamlin was dominating and then kind of choked away by himself? Seems a little bit like karma to me, but regardless, the Southern 500 yesterday was pretty good. I watched the battle cam for the majority of the race, and there was quite a lot of passing and racing throughout. Very racy track. I love how Darlington, it's just everybody is slide job into the corner trying to make it work past people, and it can go on like that for laps upon laps until finally the other person lets you by and you can go on your merry way. I really enjoy that part of Darlington, other than the endurance aspect, much like the World 600. It's really a technical track where you have to be a true racer, as some would say, to be able to succeed here. And last night, very enjoyable race, although there was quite a bit of drama for several different drivers. Denny Hamlin, I don't know what he was doing last night, pitting for that supposed loose wheel, but I don't know. It seems kind of fishy that Kyle Larson won yesterday, so I don't know. Just seems like a little bit like karma to me, in my humble opinion. But yeah, he just got cycled back after that all the way to like 30th and ended up finishing like 25th. Like, it was just never a factor after that. He had the dominant car and just totally blew it. Kevin Harvick, I was watching him. He was top 5 all night. Denny Hamlin, probably the best car. He gets screwed over. This is Kevin Harvick's chance to try and make a shot for the win. He's working on William Byron. He's working on him. He's trying to make it pass. He makes his stick. He gets past him. And then he's going to pit. And then Tyler Reddick has a moment, an incident, a happening with Ryan Newman. And he ends up pitting instead of just rolling through and taking the L for that. And screws him over. Ends up just getting shuffled back and turns what would have been a top 5 night, maybe top 3, maybe even a win, to just like a measly 20th or something. So sucks to see for Kevin Harvick, but that's racing. You know, you get some breaks sometimes. The other days get screwed over. Now, Ross Chastain, this dude, I swear, he was just MIA for the first 2 stages of the race, and he ended up finishing 5th. That was, when I was looking back up at stage 3, I was like, where the hell did this guy come from? Then I see Chris Buescher. He was top 10 for most of the day, him charging towards the front at the end. I was watching him. He was stuck amongst Tyler Reddick and William Byron for the last like 15 laps, and then he finally got by. And it seemed like he was going to try and get past Kyle Larson for the win, but he just ultimately ran out of time. So once again, a Roush driver carrying his momentum. Martin Truex Jr. MIA the entire race. Don't know what happened. Just no speed. Really weird. But yeah, this dude, he was just a non-factor the entire race, struggling to even get past the 20th position. Really weird. Kyle Busch, I swear, Kyle Busch every year seems like he's more and more reverting to how he was before his championships, where he'd be really fast, but he would make a lot of mistakes, and oftentimes he would be his own worst enemy. Seems like he's more like a rookie with how mistake-prone he's been recently, and it's very disheartening to see, because you know this guy's a 2-time champion. You see him bringing out cautions for the stupidest reasons, really. Ryan Blaney was top 10 all day, had some pretty good speed at this track. Seems like he's slowly turning Darlington around into a track that he does better at, which is interesting to see, because historically he's been kind of but yeah. Also Christopher Bell, also just kind of MIA for most of the race. So yeah, pole sitter to nobody pretty much. Now, as for the playoff standings, obviously Kyle Larson is locked into the next round. William Byron's second. He has more great tracks coming up for him with Kansas and Bristol. Finished 3rd in the last races there. So William Byron, I think he's safe above this cutoff. Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick had a really strong showing today, and I was kind of hoping he wouldn't win because I didn't want him to bust my bracket on the first race of the playoffs. But I know that 23XI and Tyler Reddick, they're either going to show up with a lot of speed and be one of the ones to beat, or they're just going to shoot themselves in the foot with something stupid. And it seems that today they managed to keep a clean race, and for the most part, and they had a pretty good finish. But I don't know if that will translate to Kansas and Bristol. We'll see. I don't know if this is just going to be Tyler Reddick's only quote-unquote clean race of the round or the next few races and he just ends up falling apart. Or this is just where he strings together a bunch of good finishes. But we'll see. Chris Buescher carries his momentum from the end of the regular season into the start of the playoffs. He's got Kansas and Bristol coming up. So Kansas, he finished 17th at. Bristol, he won last year. So we'll see if the defending Bristol Night Race winner might be the favorite to win, honestly, if he keeps the momentum into Kansas. But we'll see. Denny Hamlin, he was dominating one of his best tracks until an unfortunate kind of pit road mishap. Of course, Denny Hamlin seems to be a bit more susceptible to silly, goofy events like these going on to affect his race. But, he has more good tracks coming up for him where he won at Kansas earlier this year. And historically, he's good at Bristol. So I think he's also safe. Martin Truex Jr. Very weird that he was just totally MIA this race. Don't know why, but Kansas and Bristol, once again, I honestly think that Truex will get through it just fine. Kyle Busch, he managed to recover from just having like top 15 speed and being kind of mediocre. Not mediocre per se, but just kind of just being there and even spitting out at one point to finishing 11th, which is pretty good. It's not usually when I see this year Kyle Busch having some sort of mishap, he kind of just finishes like 22nd or something, but this is good. I think he's relatively pretty safe for the next round. Brad Keselowski, I think he has Bristol circled on his calendar. Him and Chris Buescher were probably the two cars to beat last year, and I think once again it'll be the same story. So he should be able to make it into the next round, barring any silly events happening. Ryan Blaney, I picked him to be out, but it seems he has a decent cushion that he's built at one of his typically worst tracks. And these next two tracks, well, his results, the past two results for him weren't that good, but I mean, I honestly don't know. This bracket's a little, everybody's really tight right now. Of course, it's just the first race of the playoffs, but it's certainly making my picks a little nervous. Don't know if maybe I should have picked the Penske car to make it into the round 12, but we'll see. Ross Chastain, once again, showed incredible grit and determination to battle from like 25th all the way into 5th. So I had him going into the next round. I think he will. Joey Logano, this dude was MIA. I'm sorry, I did not notice this guy in the race except for like one time when the battle camera was focused on him. I think he'll just get into the next round barely. Christopher Bell, he's a JGR car. I think he'll be able to get into the next round, of course, but today's result was not very convincing on him being a top-tier playoff driver. Bubba Wallace, he had a 7th place finish, and that was pretty good. He was kind of MIA as well this race. I know I've used that term a lot, but it's pretty good to explain how a lot of the playoff drivers were just kind of messing around, almost messing about. But he made it only a 1-point gap after his first race. And he has 2 good tracks coming up for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins next week, but we'll see. Kevin Harvick. I hope that he can make it into the championship four if all of his fans want another win. But this is not looking too good. I know he could definitely make it into the next round, but you're really hoping that he would be able to win what is probably his strongest track in the playoffs. You're barring Phoenix, of course, but I mean, he should make it into the next round. We'll see. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished pretty good after kind of being a non-factor this race. Only 4 points out of the next round. Of course, it's also the first race, but hey, he had a decent finish at Kansas this year, so who knows? Maybe he'll make some magic happen. Michael McDowell, he was very MIA. He was not anywhere close to the top of the field, and then he got up in that crash, and when that camera was trained on him driving down pit road, it looked like he was drifting down. It was it was very interesting looking, but yeah. He's already 19 points out of the good, so yeah, that's unfortunate for him, but I don't think they have much chance of making the next round regardless, but hey, it's good that they made the playoffs at all this year. So, yeah, Darlington. Interesting race. But I would also like to apologize if my voice sounds very weird. I'm a little bit stuffed up, so I sound a bit different. But, yeah, Darlington. Lady in Black bit couple people, but we move on to Kansas. So maybe we'll see more Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin drama, I hope.